Well, you clicked on this video to find out what is the best class to play Druid. Surprisingly, it's not Druid. Yeah, most broken class to play Druid. Yeah, it is Pathfinder. Let me explain. Today I streamed warrior leveling build and we got lots of discussions on stream on what class is the best to play Druid. Turns out 9 people out of 10 is not considering Druid for pretty simple reason. So Path of Exile 2 is a little bit different RPG than all other RPGs on the market. So when you picking class, you technically deciding one of 3 ascendancies that you will get later, and these ascendancies will give you just 8 passive skill points, not a big deal in most cases, and also it will determine your starting position on passive skill tree. So warrior will start at the bottom left, while druid will start at the top left, and this position is actually super important. However, if we compare 0.4 and 0.3 passive skill trees, we will see that there's loads of new nodes on passive tree on druid side. It's pretty obvious. So I pointed out to chat that it's not clear yet, but still, again, in PoE 2, you kinda not playing your class, you playing your skills. And in terms of druid, we think about being able to transform into shapeshifting wolf, into bear, maybe into wyvern, or even cast some nature spells. So nature spells will probably go into elemental category. They will fill exactly these slots, so we will have 4 choices per level. And what about our shape-shifting into different animal forms? Well, to do it you need talisman, and talisman is just a weapon, so all druid skills will be in primal category. Therefore any class can wield talisman and can be kinda druid. Therefore let's talk about what is the best class for your druid based on these skills we already got from different materials. That's the skills we got on official site, so it's Furious Slam, and what is most important about these skills is tags, because tags will determine how you will scale them. Basically, Furious Slam will have area of effect, AoE, melee and slam tags. When you're using this skill, you will spend rage and perform big slam for a lot of extra attack, otherwise it will be just mini slam to beat a bunch of enemies. Then we get Ferocious Roar. It's war cry that can be used by bear form, but also you can socket different war cries from human form. Few of the honorable examples will be Infernal Cry or Ancestral Cry. Infernal Cry will boost up to 5 attacks for extra fire damage, which is pretty cool, and Ancestral Cry will transform us into fire spreading machine. We basically will trigger volcanic steps. All melee strikes and slams will be ancestrally boosted, basically more powerful. So in my opinion, it's nice combination. Let's check this example. So that's how it looks like. Basically, we're destroying enemies, we're slamming enemies. But most importantly, to really use the skills effectively, we need to use our rage. And Druid got 2 ascendancies. So one of them is Oracle, one of them is Shaman. And be aware, some numbers over here is not final. So for example, this 40 spirit for each available empty charm slot is pretty old and may be changed in a patch note soon. Still, we can have kinda ideation where Druid is going right now. And if we take a closer look, there is Furious Wellspring, which is really powerful rage stuff. We will stop rage loss. It's insanely powerful because normally you lose rage whenever you basically stop inflicting any damage. And also we will regenerate rage per second. So with this passive, we technically don't need to generate rage. We always will have maximum rage until we use skills. But here's the deal. This awesome passive also got a downside, pretty obviously, yeah. It's too powerful to have like 0 downsides. And downside is skill which are not default attacks, and technically any skill is not default attack, I guess. Because default attack is only the attack that you got right from the start of the game, like Mace Strike for example. These skills will consume rage. So even though we will be able to regenerate it at a rate of 6% of maximum rage per second, it will take us 15 seconds to fully regenerate rage. And with extra cost, well, we will have maybe 1 or 2 skills to cast and then rage will be ended. So while it looks cool, well, in my opinion, it's not too broken. It will be okay. But to get over here, we need to spend 4 points. Spending 4 points, we will get this big node, and this big node will give us ability to increase our spell damage for every 2 rage. So even like best and most powerful stuff that will increase our damage, technically, because it will generate rage automatically, require us to spend 8 points, and we're not getting anything. if you want to play only as bear. So that's like important part. If you want to play as bear, well, it will completely mess up your plan. Now let's take a look at passive skill tree. So if we take a look and remind ourselves what we are looking for in bear skills, basically we're looking for something that will increase melee damage, that will increase AoE damage, slam damage, and maybe something that will give us more rage or increase rage potency. Guess what? If we just write area, we will see that most of area of effect stuff is actually located on the bottom part and also on the left part. I guess when Druid will come into play, we will see a lot of area of effect over here, and actually it will benefit Warrior more than Druid because there will be even more area of effect and area damage passive nodes that is super close to Warrior, and it will be completely insane. And here right now we're talking about Warrior. So Warrior is actually a lot better if you want to play as bear than picking Druid. If we check all bear skills, we will see that there is some skills with more stun build up, some of them will give us extra fire damage, and even skills like Walking Calamity will give us buffs that will regenerate 5 rage per second. So by using this buff in bear form, we can be Kitava or Titan or Warbringer, and we will be able to generate rage normally, and it's pretty crazy. And unlike Druid, who starts for example over here, and he got options in his first kill to increase area of effect just a little bit, increase melee damage 10%, and increase area of effect a little bit, followed by increased damage and increased critical hit chance. And basically it's kinda useless skills because again, we're not scaling our critical hit chance with this build, we're scaling our overall damage output, so we're scaling raw damage. Critical hits is nice, but especially not in the beginning. Unlike Warrior, as Warrior we will get melee damage and there will be loads of melee damage followed by melee damage and stun build up. Stun build up will help us generate more stun in bear form, and we will benefit from other passive nodes like Smash, which will increase melee damage and will increase damage against heavy stunned enemies. Just by taking this node alone, we will get 60% increased melee damage. And yes, you can get over here as Druid, because Druid will be kinda close. But to get here as Druid, you will need to spend loads of traveling nodes, and loads of nodes will be kinda wasted. Since as fighter, as warrior, you already will have insane, almost like double melee damage bonus, you will get access to this extra fire damage to attacks, which also will benefit your bear, and also all area of effect stuff will be over here, it's just close to you. It's insane. Increased damage with two-handed weapons, and it's not two-handed maces or some other stuff, it's two-handed weapons. And after I checked talismans, they're actually two-handed weapons. Therefore, all passive nodes near warrior will just increase your raw damage output. Druid on other side will have nice access to critical hit chances and flammability magnitude. Again, it gives you no damage. In the end game it probably will kinda play, but before you reach level 90, before you get like loads of insanely overpowered gear, this druid is like awful and it doesn't look like it gets better, at least for now. But what ascendancy you want as fighter? Well, there's Kitava warrior, and Kitava is pretty fun because you can just get boring stuff, increase your fire resistance and make your fire resistance modifier affect your cold and lightning resistance. What you will achieve? Well, with awful gear after leaving campaign, you will be able to hit almost maximum resistances. And by awful gear, I mean my belt doesn't have resistances even. So you will be extremely tanky and will output insane amount of damage at the same time. At the same time, Kitava will be buffed and you can craft your own body armor. It will give you a lot more armor than in 0.3, and there's a lot of cool passives that will increase your strength, that can be beneficial for your damage in different situations, or just make good armor that will protect you from critical strikes, from different elemental damage, and you can create insanely powerful stuff. But if you're going for damage, of course there is another ascendancy, and it will be Titan. Titan is just no-brainer pick. Your hits are crushing blows. Crushing blows is basically ability to completely stun your enemies when they primed for stun, for heavy stun, so you will stun them a lot more. In combination with Rampage, with Furious Slam, you will stun enemies left and right. At the same time, this node will be buffed, since right now it gives us 50% more damage against heavy stunned enemies, but this node will be gone, and instead we will have 25% more damage against heavy stunned enemies on this node. So technically, after you get your ascendancy, get your first 2 points, you can instantly give yourself insane extra bonus of damage to heavy stunned enemies, but at the same time, the last passive will be changed and every third slam skill will cause additional aftershock ahead and to each side of initial area, technically quadrupling your area of effect with your skills, and it's just complete bonkers. There is not a lot of passives, but there is passives for aftershock, and you can increase this area for 30% more, and aftershocks are basically duplications of the skill, and with high enough area of effect, this will be your main skill. It should create aftershocks, for example, to the left and the right and in front, but they all will cover this area with correct and big area of effect, so it will be completely broken. At the same time, we get access to all insanely powerful rage nodes as warrior, the one that will give us chance to get max rage whenever we hit enemies, every rage will give us stun threshold, and overall maximum rage will be increased. So there's loads of rage nodes near warrior. So is warrior is the best if you want to play bear druid? Probably yes, but there's also one notable mention, and it is Pathfinder. Yeah, Pathfinder is weird, but hear me out. Druid is mixed class, and as mixed classes you don't need a lot of stats to activate your skills. For example, level 11 skill in mixed class like monk requires just 41 dexterity and intelligence. So if you will use dexterity intelligence armor and dexterity intelligence skills, in example of druid it will be strength intelligence, you don't need loads of stats. And Pathfinder got insanely funny changes. You will be able to get increased damage, increased defenses, or increased cost efficiency instead of taking this ability attribute points. At the same time, Pathfinder will be able to start his journey from sorceress or from warrior starting point. Definitely forget about sorceress, although you can start from there and get some like energy shields, it's pretty fun. But as I told you, the beefy stuff is over here in warrior starting point. And it doesn't mean you need to respect wall tree. Basically you will pick your node and you will be able not to only get like bonuses from Pathfinder but also from warrior. And on the right side you don't need a lot, but there's loads of cool stuff. There will be 2 clusters that will increase area of effect, melee strike range. So basically it will be new clusters for monk, but Pathfinder is pretty close, so we can get access to them pretty easily. At the same time we will be able to get this melee strike range, melee damage, and strike range is also really powerful, chance to blind enemies with attack with increased attack damage, and loads of nice flat damage attack passives over here. While at the same time we will take warrior, we will get all damage nodes over here, we will get some flame ability, we will get area of effect, rage, and it will be most broken class to play druid. Yeah, it is Pathfinder, but it's only bear druid. So what's about wolf? Wolf using cold attacks. Right now they looking weird, especially this one. It's base attack as far as I can understand, it's lunar assault, and its area of effect melee strike, and also cold. It costs a tiny amount of mana, it's level 1 skill, so it's our starting ability, but attack damage is just 40%. 40% is insanely low. Why is it so low? I don't know. Maybe there's some like hidden stuff behind it. Like for example, there's crossbow skills like galvanic shards, and if you take their base damage, they actually dealing like 31% of damage with attack damage. But don't forget, they shooting 8 fragmented rounds per shot. 31 multiplied by 8, which is already more than 100% attack damage. If you hit all fragments into one target, but at the same time there's beam for 157% damage. So here we also got explanation that we will be in werewolf form, we will swipe with claws, and we will deal Arc of Moonlight and Ice forward. It's insane magnitude of chill and freeze build up, so it will be very useful to freeze enemies, but again damage is weird. Probably GGG kinda wants us to freeze enemies and then deal damage with other skills. Maybe, whatever. What we actually see with Wolf, that technically we will be fast, we can do some strikes, and we should scale melee, area of effect, and cold damage. So how we can get any benefit from Shaman? From Shaman we can have something like Rage, but again with full Rage branch we will lose on spell damage, so if you're going for only Wolf play it's kinda useless. It's a lot easier to just generate Rage normally. There is Protective Node that will protect us and we will take a bunch of physical damage as different elemental damage types. It will increase our elemental damage, elemental protection, so it's like different mechanics that will give us a little bit of extra protection. And also there is a secret node that no one knows what will happen when you take it, and traveling node will increase elemental damage. Therefore, we can assume that we will get something like different elemental damage added to our attacks, probably like cold, lightning and fire. But at the same time, it may be like some nodes that will increase our spell damage, so we will have like zero use of it. There is another ascendancy for Druid, and this one will have ability to increase casting and attack speed for totems that will require you to have power charges, by the way, and everyone hate it, but I still will force myself to play totems. There is increased critical hit chance, which is good, but it's not game breaking, so just small tiny bonus. And there's few nodes that will give us passive points or a little bit of elemental damage, so no benefits for our build. But on other side of passive skill tree, we got Mr. Monk, specifically Invoker. And Invoker starts with skill speed, with attack damage, with attack speed, with flat damage bonuses, as well as added extra damages, cold damage, added damages, lightning damage, and with his ascendancy you can get increased elemental damage, chance to shock enemies, chance to chill enemies, and you will even ignore elemental resistances with critical hits. So technically almost every single node around Monk will help us deal more and more and more damage with our elemental damage attacks. We will have higher attack speed, we can build even different kind of armor. Again, as I told you, with mixed skills, you don't need to focus a lot on stats, therefore hitting requirements for mixed armor is a lot easier. So if instead of strength intelligence armor, you can go for invasion and energy shield and get one of the best defensive layers in the game, in my opinion, because combination of deflection, evasion and energy shield is just insane. It's not as insane as 100,000 energy shield from Lich, but from normal not broken classes it's probably the best one. However, Wolf got special abilities, and the special abilities will summon Wolf Pack. This pack will fight with you, and they are not summons, so they are not rechargeable minions. You basically hit enemies, you destroy them, and your wolves will be summoned, and they will fight along your side. Still, they are your allies, and again, Shaman, Oracle does not have any beneficial bonuses for your allies. Guess who have beneficial bonuses for your allies? Of course, it's Tactician. Yeah, as Tactician, you can start with increased spirit and have less reservation for spirit. You can get unlimited banners, so you will be able to bank 2 banners at the same time that will increase damage of all your allies. And if you're already stacked loads of wolves, well, allies in your presence will gain added attack damage equal to 25% of your main hand's weapon damage. I don't know if this will work or not, but we already got showcased this talisman. This talisman will transform us in pretty weird jumping slamming beast, so it's more like a bear, but it got 700 fire damage and also some physical damage. So it got like 1000 damage inside. Let's give this 250 damage to our wolves. Oh my goodness. We will have 1 million wolves that hits for 250 fire damage. They will burn everything. Or you can get some like overpowered two-handed mace with 1000 damage and it will just melt everyone on your screen. At the same time, if you're starting as Tactician, yeah, probably it will be weird leveling as Druid, but as build it should work, since there's loads of allied nodes, and allies in your presence will have more accuracy, more attack damage, and you will have more attack damage, so there's loads of buffs for your allies at the same time, and technically you can play as Ballista. Tactician you can play as Ballistas and play as Wolf, summon loads of wolves, and it will be just crazy, unlike starting as Shaman or Oracle. But okay, maybe playing as Wyvern is a lot better for Druid. So if you're going to be crawling lizard, not wizard, lizard. Sorry, I don't know how to call this creature otherwise. It's just crawling lizard. Animations are cool, but it looks weird. So for Wyvern, we got bunch of melee attacks accompanied by bunch of projectile attacks. And funnily enough, at least for now, there's no boosts for projectile attacks. There's a little bit of melee damage, spell damage, so technically there's like zero reason to play Wyvern as Druid. But there is another ascendancy on exactly opposite side of the tree, and no, it's not a ranger, it's not the die, and it will be huntress, especially Amazon. So first of all, you can spec into elemental surge, and if you will be able to gain power endurance charges, you will be able to get cold surges, fire surges, and you can easily get both of them because endurance charges can be gained by different sources, while power charges can be gained when you eat corpses as Wyvern. It's like special ability. At the same time, it's just like pure damage increase against rare and unique enemies when they got open weakness. You can have insane critical hit chance if you stack accuracy, or even you can start gaining life leech based on elemental damage instead of physical damage. As Wyvern, of course, you will deal loads of elemental damage, and starting on this part of the tree, well, you will have loads of stuff that will increase your projectile speed and attack speed, projectile damage and attack damage, and whenever you deal melee hit, you will increase chances for projectile to fork, which increases their damage technically if you're fighting versus multiple enemies, and when you hit with projectiles, you will increase your melee strike range, which will help you survive more. And that's technically exactly playstyle you're looking for as Wyvern. You want to come close, deal bunch of melee attacks like this, and then follow with projectiles. And it's just crazy how good Amazon for Wyvern playstyle. Still, is there any good build for Druid class if you want to play Druid class, but you don't want to play as Bear Titan? And there definitely are. Exactly mixed playstyles will be probably insanely good on Druid, but we need to figure them out. And that's why subscribe, and you will see a bunch of Druid rings coming very soon.